Basically, we almost died last year because we didn't know about this. Between the 7 months that we've lived on the road, accidentally chasing a polar vortex across the country, and surviving a few snowstorms during the 65-foot snow season in Tahoe, we've learned quite a few lessons across the way on how to stay safe and warm during cold weather climates.
Hello everyone, my name is Anthony.
If you're new here, my name is Shelby, and
I'm Anthony.
And we live out of a self-renovated 1971 camper, and it is on a 2016 Ram 3500. The 1971 camper is definitely not Four Seasons, so we've had to learn quite a few ways to stay warm and keep this thing insulated. If you're just starting, living on the road, or you're just looking for some cold weather tips because you're going somewhere cold with your rig, this video is for you. Pretty much anything in this video that we talk about, it will be linked in the description below. That way, if you're curious about buying something that we talk about, it'll be there for your convenience. But the first thing we're going to talk about are camper essentials, and one of the first most important things to have, especially if your camper isn't a Four Seasons camper, is having extra insulation.
Yeah.
Do you wanna? So we have
this stuff.
I forget what it's called.
It's like a bubble reflective insulation. You just stick it in our windows.
Yeah, we have it in our windows. We have it in our door. And we just cut it out, to the, exact dimensions of the windows. And
it doesn't look the prettiest, but it really works.
It really helps. And we even use it, there's certain spots in the camper that are just drafty, and we'll cut out pieces and use it for that. And it really gets the job done.
So we have a diesel heater, and we do recommend the diesel heater because, in higher elevations, if you have a propane heater, they seem not to, work that great. But with the diesel heater, we have the Beaver 5 kilowatt diesel heater. You can get it on Amazon.
Again, we'll link it below.
Yeah. But it has an automatic elevation adjustment on it, which is really cool and handy, so you don't have to manually put it in or whatever.
Obviously there's downsides to anything you kind of pick. Last year we didn't really know much about diesel heaters.
Yeah.
Okay. We didn't really know that much about diesel heaters at the time. Basically, we almost died last year because we didn't know about this. It was negative 18 degrees Fahrenheit without the wind chill, just awful. And on one of the worst nights,
our diesel heater decided to shut off on us because it had a soot buildup from the carbon.
And not only is it bad that it shut off and it was cold, that soot buildup caused a carbon monoxide leak in our camper, which leads us to emphasizing how important it is to also have a carbon monoxide detector. We have two now in our camper, because if that would have not gone off in the middle of the night while we were asleep, we could have died, because this is such a tiny space.
That too. And also another thing, it's very important to service it. Take it apart, clean it out. Also, a good winterizer for fuel additive. I would just do a splash in the tank, and then also making sure it's on the high elevation setting. If your diesel heater doesn't have the option of automatically turning on, the high elevation setting is very important.
Another thing, it's always smart to have an extra heat source, and I mean, again, propane heaters aren't always the most reliable, but it doesn't hurt to have an extra. There's these things called little buddy heaters, and I forget how they work. They're safe to use indoors, and they'll shut off, if it emits too much. If there were to be too much CO2 in the air, it automatically shuts off.
Also, if they fall over or anything like that, they automatically shut off. And then the other thing is your plumbing during the winter. So we have a water tank inside our camper that pretty much stays warm all the time, but our gray water tank is on the outside. So this is an old camper and never came with a gray water. So ours is kind of sitting in our truck bed. But it's good. You should definitely insulate that because...
Yeah, we just learned this last week or this week.
Well, I kind of knew it would happen. I just didn't take action on it, but
yeah, it's like since the like plumbing to the gray water tank, all of that stuff is in the truck bed. We didn't insulate the truck bed, so it's currently frozen, which leads us to the next important thing to have, which is like an extra water jug. It's 10 gallons. It has a little, spigot spout, so you can just turn it. So since that's frozen, we're totally fine, unless it explodes or...
Yeah, it won't.
Anyways, it's really important to have an extra water source. So we have a 10-gallon water jug inside the camper where it's warm, and now we still have drinking water even though we can't use our sink, which is pretty essential. So another thing that's like really nice to have are like extra warm blankets. So we have these things called Ruffle Puffy blankets. They're super... I'll just like grab one. Didn't I say Rumple?
No, you said Ruffle.
These guys. They're super nice, versatile. They're also water resistant, so you can kind of get them wet, and yeah, they're super warm. So we have like 4 of these. And then it's also super important to have a cold weather rated sleeping bag, because if your heat and your power does go out, you really want to make sure that you have a sleeping bag that you can throw on your bed so you're super warm. We have a waterproof mat at our floor by Rumple too, which I'll link below, and that's really nice to lay out. It's called their Go Everywhere mat, just for when you walk into the camper, you don't track snow in.
Also, another thing is to have one of these guys to cuddle with.
Super nice body heat.
So another good thing is to have like extra like power sources. So we have like 2 power stations. They can keep us going for like 3 or 4 days. We don't have solar yet on top of the camper, but it is very good to have mounted solar for those sunny days, so it keeps them charged. Also, you can also keep them charged by running off your running light auxiliary off your truck, so it's constantly charging while you're driving. Yeah, that's like our next big like upgrade that we want to do. Is definitely we need in the next like month we need to get solar on our roofs. That way our generators are always charged. And what Anthony said with how much we drive, like we should really be charging our generators as we drive. Okay, so now we want to talk about some truck essentials. So some truck items for the winter would be a good shovel. So I have a shovel by Bully Tools. It's like a 1-piece shovel, super durable. You can cut through banks with it and stuff.
And it's polyurethane.
Yeah, it's like it's polyurethane. You can get it on Amazon or any kind of like hardware store in the area. Another thing is like traction pads if you have room for them. Good snow tires like an AT with like the winter logo on the tire. I don't remember what that's called.
Or even if you don't get snow tires, like there's like snow rated all-terrain tires, which you can totally get away with using some of those.
Right. And a big thing is Snowchains. They are very useful. And also it is in some states against the law not to carry like Snowchains. They are required if you are hauling or towing.
Especially in Tahoe, they can really crack down sometimes. You really want to make sure that you have your chains on.
Another thing is like a bra for the front end of your truck if you have a diesel. So it just goes over the front of your radiator. It keeps your motor warm because normally diesels run a little cold. And then also if you have room, I would carry a gas generator just to like if you have a block heater on your truck to keep it plugged in, or maybe like plug it in for an hour to warm it up before you start your truck. So
it's like brutal starting your truck like anywhere that's super like cold as in under 20 degrees. Like when we were in Colorado skiing in Winter Park just a few days ago, the truck definitely had a hard time starting, so we're like definitely gonna get a
gas generator. You can get it from Harbor Freight or even Amazon. You can get the nice quiet Honda ones, which are rad.
I think that's like a need for us after like having really bad starts over the past couple of days. So for the last category, I just want to talk about having some really solid personal like clothing items for whenever you're camping in your truck, because whether you're outside doing activities or whether you're inside and you happen to lose power, it's really important to make sure you have the proper attire. First things first, like making sure you have a solid pair of shoes. Anthony is planning on getting extra tough boots, and I have a pair of Fubuki boots, which they're like the lightest winter boot on the market, which is nice, you know, because it's just in the camper storage-wise. So making sure you have a solid pair of boots for when you're outside, making sure you have a solid winter jacket or a shell that's somewhat waterproof, especially on those storm days. Having a nice lightweight puffy that can dual as another layer under that winter jacket for really cold days is nice. And also puffies are just super lightweight, they're packable, and you can wear them on their own if it's like mild climate outside. So I highly recommend like a lightweight puffy. Other mid layers are super nice, like fleeces, something that you can throw on, and then base layers.
Wool is the biggest base layer. Also, it acts as like an
It's antimicrobial.
Yeah, so it's kind of smell proof a little bit.
Yeah, so you can wear them. They're a lot more expensive than synthetic, but you can wear them a lot longer without washing them, which is key if you're living in your truck. Along with that, obviously socks too. Can't recommend wool socks enough, just because you can wear them more than once. I know that sounds gross, but like you totally can if they're wool. I forgot. Also, another thing that's really nice to have is a jet boil to heat up water really quick, and a Nalgene. If you're in a pinch in an emergency, you can pour hot water, boiling water in a Nalgene and use it as like a heat source under your blankets. But that's really it. I really hope that that's helpful and gives you some insights for if you're planning a camper trip in a cold climate. I hope that this helps. We had to learn the hard way camping in cold weather, especially in this thing. So,
and I'm sure there's more to learn too. So
yeah.